Today I am so happy and just very grateful to have Ana Lovera, the one and only, in the room with me or in the virtual room with me. Hey, Ana, thanks so much for joining me today.
Hello, happy to be here as always.
You're just such an amazing business owner and just an amazing human in general. And I've known you now for a few years. You're a graduate of the Clever Bunch and you're also in the Genius Bunch. And and one thing that every time I see you, you always show up fully. And and that is often for you at different hours to here in Sydney because you're based in Canada, and you
That's right.
just have this way of always showing up fully with your whole heart and your whole presence. And I always get a bit emotional thinking about it because it's very rare. So I just wanted to maybe this wasn't a question I was going to ask you, but how do you what's your secret? How do you do that? You
I
always
think
show up with your whole heart.
well, you know what, Franziska, there might be all kinds of reasons for that. I think one of them is that I really love what I do. I really want to help people. I'm empathic to think that everybody's going through stuff, and then if you can help them right there in the moment in some way, you should do that in the measure that you can. But I also recall something now because you're mentioning it, and it's something that I think I've learned with you guys because I don't remember if it was 2020 or 2021, but when we were discussing like what is our theme for the year, I think you mentioned you wanted to make an impact, and impact was kind of your word. And it got me thinking that we don't get to live whatever experience we are going through, like the two of us right now in this phone call, in this video call. We don't get to have it a second time. Even if we didn't record it and we have to do it again next week, it will be a different experience. So whenever you show up for something, try to make a good impact. And in order to do that, I think you try to you remind yourself of bringing the best that you can. And that was a great thing to realize because sometimes we think, okay, you know what, if it doesn't go well, we'll just do it next time. And that's true for when you show up for your clients, when you have an introductory meeting, when you go to an event, to have this awareness of I'm going to try to make a good impact.
That is just out of the gate, very unexpected, the most profound and most important lesson that we can talk about here today, so we can pretty much finish this
Yeah,
call already.
there you go.
It's such a great reminder, and it really hits me in my heart, this message, because I really resonate with it, and I think it's a really, really good message for all of us. You know, what you share is this moment we have now. And there's so much else going on, and there's so much going on in the world, as always. There's a lot of negative going on, there's a lot of positive going on, and it's very distracting. And we just have right now, this conversation is right now. So coming fully with your whole heart is how we can make the biggest impact, and we can apply this to anything, as you say. I just love this so much. Thank you for sharing. This is a very profound message, and I feel like we need to hear it over and over again. Now, to talk a little bit about your businesses also, because we have a lot of business owners listening to this and watching also the video. You have become a business owner a while ago. You have run a few businesses. Would you like to share a little bit your entrepreneurial journey? How did you decide to become a business owner? And also tell us a bit about your business or your businesses. You've got a supply chain consulting agency and a few other things.
Yes, yeah. So I started in the right before the pandemic, right? I said I registered my company at the end of 2019, and I said this is what I'm going to do, and then the pandemic hit, and that was right around the time that I have stopped working in the corporate world, and I have become an immigrant here in Canada. So I'm originally from Venezuela, moved here in the early 2019. And when you leave your country and you leave your extended family and all your friends, and you move to another country, however friendly, however lovely it is here, you are by yourself, right? So I didn't want to dedicate so much of my time and attention to a job as I was before, because I was not going to have that extended support to balance my family. So I really wanted to be there and to support my kids also in the transition to a new country. But at the same time, I said, you know what, I feel that I really want to keep doing what I'm doing, what I do in terms of helping companies, you know, improve their logistics, improve their supply chain, and in doing so, retain their clients, because there's really this connection between operations and client satisfaction. And then I thought, well, how am I going to do this? And it was towards the end of 2019 that it sort of clicked to say, well, you know what, I'm going to give it a try to become an entrepreneur, to do this work on an entrepreneurial form, like a consultant. And it was the moment that I realized this is the path that I'm going to follow, was when I realized, from a lot of meditation and a lot of writing my own thoughts, that what I had lost when I left my country and when I left my job, what I had lost was a platform. So my company, my former company, when I spent 20 years there, that was a platform. People knew me. They knew what I was good at. If they needed me, they knew where to find me. And so I was busy because I had a platform, more than a job. They just knew me. And then I realized, okay, that's what I need to do now in the entrepreneurial world. I need to become known. I need to create this platform for myself by doing work, by attending events, by doing voluntary work, by networking, and so on. And that's how it's going to happen. You know, I'm going to become known, and I'm going to build this platform. And that's how the whole entrepreneurial journey started to take form.
Yeah, and I remember being on a part of this journey with you, and I remember you, you know, it's quite daunting. You moved your whole family to a new country, and at the same time you also started your own business, and you didn't know anyone or hardly anyone. New culture, new language, new system, and you started your own business and you started hustling. And some of the things that you mentioned that helped you to get to where you are now, and you're really creating a name for yourself in this industry. Some of the things that you mentioned are you go networking, you connect with people. What are some of the other things that you have been doing to grow this
Yeah,
company now?
I think the part where when you realize, okay, in order to become known, the next step is, what am I going to become known for? Whom do I want, or who do I want to know me? And when they know me, what do I want them to see? So these are things that I learned. Essentially, the Clever Bunch play a big role on understanding, you know, brand, understanding, sharing your expertise, and the social proof of your expertise. So I started to develop my social media profile. I started to refine my voice, and I started to understand who my target client is, and researching my target client. And the very important thing was, what are 3 or 4 values? I think I defined, not I think, I'm sure I defined 4 for my brand, and then keep writing with that mentality, with that mindset, with that voice in mind. And then that was sort of the next step. After, you know, deciding what I really need is to become known, and I need to create a platform, then known to whom and for what, so that can become a brand, and it can become something that really attract clients, and you can sort of really make a living out of that and capitalize on that work, on all that work, because there's a lot of work on trying to become known and to create a platform. But it's really
Yeah,
worth it. It's really worth it, because it's a research about what you do and about yourself as well.
and I love the specificity of it too. I like how you know especially in the beginning, it's quite easy to want to be known to everyone for everything, but those 2 questions are so powerful that you shared. Is what do you want, well, whom do you want to be known to, who do you want to work
To
with,
know.
so who are your target audience, and what do you want to be known for? So who do you want to work with specifically, and you got really clear on that. And then what specifically do you want to be known for? Those are such great questions. And then the values are also so important to then have this alignment. And you have this now in your company with everything, every touch point that you have this alignment in terms of tone of voice and the imagery that you use, how you make people feel. It's very consistent. Now, of course, over the last few years, it's not been always easy. Also, there has been a pandemic, and especially with supply chain, I mean, that industry has been completely ripped apart with COVID. What are some of your first, let's talk about maybe some of your biggest challenges that you have faced, and then also some of your highlights. So let's maybe first go into what were some of the biggest challenges and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, I think in terms of challenges, one of the things that I experienced at the beginning was precisely in this journey of understanding what did I wanted to be known for. I think the question that happens before that is, you know, what do I want to do, or how do I want to serve clients, and what really, not just that it makes me happy, but I feel I am good at, right? Which is a byproduct of making you happy because you're really adding value. And so at the beginning, that was a bit challenging because I had left a corporate job of 20 years. And in a corporate job, you do so many different things. And when you become an entrepreneur, and especially in the consulting world, you cannot just show up and say, well, you know what, my name is Ana, and I can do anything in the world of supply chain. And so this refinement of, you know, who am I really for, and what within the supply chain spectrum I can do, and match that with the real needs out there. That has been a challenge, and the way to carve that is like you're digging something out, you know. It's you have to do a lot of trial and error, a lot of preparing some content and see how it's received, a lot of listening, trying to speak with people and ask the right questions, and then listen, and then gather all that information, and then try to put it together, because that is really the essence. And I think I was talking with someone from Basic Bananas, I think a couple of weeks ago in one of the meetings, and we said the marketing really explodes when you know who your client is and what they need, and you connect that with what you do. And that was something that it really, I guess I had no doubt that I was going to find it. At the same time, I know that that search will continue for as long as I am working and I am in business, because that the needs continue to evolve. And I have to say, for me, that is a challenge. I don't know if it's a challenge for everyone in the consulting world, but it was for me. And I think one thing that played a big role there was to be perseverant, to know that there was something of value that I wanted to offer, to know that it's something that is needed out there, and just to you know, to find the magnetism between the two so that we could connect.
I love that. I love how you put it so beautifully. So who the client is and what they need, understand what they need, and then connect it with what you do, and that creates that magnetism, which is a forever journey. I just love how you put it so succinctly for our viewers and listeners also to question that in their own businesses as a forever question. Now, what is one of your, over the last few years, if you look back at your journey as an entrepreneur, what is one of your proudest moments?
Mm. Oh my goodness! You know what? We were in I think we were in a meeting last week, with all the Genius Bunch members, and we went into the breaking rooms. And in one of the opportunities that I had to speak, I was talking with everyone, and I realized, Franziska, that right now is the 3-year mark of when I registered my company back in 2019. I think it is 20, 21, 22. Yeah, it's a 3-year mark. And I realized right there that I have said to myself, when I started this, I said, I'm going to give myself 3 years to see if I can become a consultant, to see if this works, and to see if I'm really cut out for this, and otherwise I'm going to go and go back to find the work. And then in 3 years, my family will already be adjusted to Canada. And I said, oh my God, it's been 3 years. And that was a proud moment, sort of, because I realized that wasn't in my mind anymore. For a long time, it hasn't been, because I sort of answered that question a while ago, and I share with the team that I was talking at that moment. You know what? Right now, obviously I'm 3 years in business, and COVID has been hard and everything, and the company is not yet, everything that I dream it will be. But right now, I'm living with more freedom that I would ever be if I was employed by a company in an employee level that would pay not close to what I'm making as a consultant. So I thought, you know what, that's a pretty good thing. And I realized it there, and then shared it with the team, and we had a good moment, because it just feels like progress. You give yourself targets, and then you meet them, and then you learn in the process, and you realize, okay, I'm ready to go to the next step.
Yeah, and I'm so proud of you, and also just so happy to hear that. And it's, you're right. We often set these targets and then we forget. And then even when we hit them, it's like, oh, that don't even remember. I didn't celebrate them. So taking these moments also that you share now with the geniuses in your case, and to look back and like, wow, it's been 3 years and I'm doing this, and I'm continuously doing this and adding value. Is just so gratifying. Now, you joined the Clever Bunch a few years ago, and now you graduated after 12 months and then joined the Genius Bunch. In the beginning, it would have been, for most businesses, it's can be a bit of a scary decision to go, oh, I don't know, who are these guys at Basic Bananas, and what's this Clever Bunch all about? Why did you choose to join the Clever Bunch? And what were some of the challenges maybe you had at the time?
Listen, I was trained as a buyer, so I don't buy things so easily, and there's a whole process that goes in when I decide, okay, I'm going to invest in this and I'm going to get this service. And I remember it was like we were still in the middle of the first big lockdown, so it was end of April or beginning of May 2020, and I was invited to the Blast Off workshop, and I remember that I couldn't even believe myself. I was writing my email and my phone call and my phone number on the chat, because it really felt right. And but for me, it was love at first sight. I said to Liesel the other day, Liesel, I don't know how it works for other people, and I was telling her, if there is anybody that you are talking with here in Canada and you want to invite me into the meeting, I'll be happy to go, because I can speak about my journey and the hours difference, and the fact that I am on this side of the world, and you guys are for the most part in Australia. And I said to myself, it just felt right. It's one of those things where no argument that somebody else can tell you will convince you to yes or no, because you're feeling that this is right. So there was a bit of that. And the other part that I think played a very important role is, and I don't think I've mentioned this to you guys before, but there was a point in the workshop that we were talking, somebody asked a question: is it worth to register your name or your company's name on business directories? And then Cristo answered the question. He said there are business directories that you can use that are very reputable one, and he even somebody put them on the chat. And then someone said, well, is this something that you do, or you teach us how to do? And then the answer from Cristo was somewhere, different words, I'm sure, but it was somewhere along the lines of, you can do it by yourself, it is doable, and we can help you. Or we have somebody here who's very good, very efficient, and she can do it, and it costs $80 an hour, or $60 an hour, whatever the number was. And she's very good and she's very efficient, and she can do it for you. So it's your choice. And that exchange right there, which probably lasted less than a minute, or just over a minute, was so authentic in the way that you are looking at the client as a partner. You are looking at the client from a place of really adding value. You are being a benchmark in what mentorship should be, which is mentoring really to what people need and giving them options. And I was so captivated by that, and it felt so connected with the way that I want to help clients too. for my journey, the first thing I did was when I was 17, I was a translator. So English speaking people came into Venezuela into a factory. I was the translator, and then our engineers would receive all this message. And that was the power of mentorship and the power of collaboration across cultures. And to see that moment there, that was captivating for me. And I said, I will work with these guys, because you showed me right there what you were about. And it was not about captivating, not captivating, but capturing clients, and just for the sake of making a sale. And that was really something. And it has been like that ever since. Like, it has not disappointed in any way, the way that you guys create a community with your clients. You take your clients and you build a community, and that's just so powerful.
You've never shared that. That's very powerful thought that I've never heard from you. And you're right, we're very much, and this is maybe a lesson in itself that you also very much believe in and use in your business. We very much meet people where they're at, and some people need more hand holding than others. It's always for us about, can we help this person and what is the best option for them? And then, of course, we very much believe in business owners understanding marketing strategy. And then, depending on where they're at in their journey and if they have a budget, they can either outsource the implementation of that, or they can do it themselves, like you mentioned in this example. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. In terms of the Clever Bunch, you've been such also a very important member for our community, because you're so giving, as we mentioned in the beginning. What are some of the results that you've already shared some of them, but what are some of the results that you have received from applying the strategies in the Clever Bunch?
Yeah, so, oh my goodness, there's so many. I think the first one that comes to my mind, and I know that it might sound like it's very simple, but that's the kind of thing that you find there. You find these bits and pieces that you use to connect with your journey and then make things work. And one of the things that I do with my clients is I never send proposals by email. I always schedule a meeting and present that proposal. And then going back to what we spoke in the beginning, having an impact, and having the opportunity to present what I'm offering to the client to do for them, to do with them, and how that is connected to the need that they have expressed, to be able to answer questions, to be able to show them the price and discuss the price, and to have openness about all the elements that build my price. It leaves them with an experience. I think if we can talk about the proposal and we can talk about the cost of my services so openly, wholeheartedly right at the beginning, then what fear could be left there on their side of working with me? And it has been so effective. Like, whenever I have the opportunity to make a proposal, in the consulting world, you're not making proposals every day, because you really have to develop, can I work with this client? Do I have the time to do it? Do I have the resources with somebody else? Am I really available to what they want? So it's not really that you can make so many proposals for big projects. But when I do have the opportunity, it always works, because it's the client. I think whatever fear, whatever concern, or whatever concern they might have, am I going to really get value for this? It dissipates in that first meeting.
Yeah,
and that is really powerful.
I remember when you changed your approach to proposals, and it's so powerful. And your closing right now is pretty much 100%. Whenever you send out or present a proposal, it's close to 100%, right?
Yeah, in year to date 2022, I have gotten every single business that I have pitched for, that I have proposed. And the company's really, there's 4 of us now. There used to be just me. There's 4 of us consultants that are helping me in different projects, and it's growing, and it really feels in a way that I'm going in the right direction, because that's the kind of work that I want to do, to be leading the process of developing the client and developing what the service is, and then bringing the right people together to work on that project and supervise that project and take it to end it right, to end it well for what the client wants. and it's working well. It's every proposal we have made this year, we have gotten the job.
It's huge. That's very unusual, and obviously a big testament to you. First of all, knowing your clients, so understanding who you actually want to work with, so they're the right people, and then creating really good offers that are adding value to those people, so that they see it and they want to work with you. Now, one last question on the Clever Bunch quickly, and then I'd like to finish up with some of your wisdom for fellow entrepreneurs. What is one of your favorite things about the Clever Bunch? There are so many different aspects to it. There's the community and there's the group, the discussions. What's your favorite aspect?
You know how they say, and I like, of course, the knowledge that we get there. There's always a new tip. There's always something that you had not thought about before. There's always the opportunity to ask for a question. But I think when I look back in retrospective, every meeting, the Clever Bunch, the masterminds, everything, the key is how it makes you feel. It's such a source of energy to connect with business owners, to listen to what somebody else is going through, and then to have the opportunity to say something. Hey, this worked for me. How about you try this? Or, you know what, hang in there because it happened to me also. And or maybe you get to speak about what's bothering you, what's weighing on you, and then hear the others, you know, sharing also their wisdom and their energy. It when you, by the time you finish that meeting, you feel as though if you went to therapy or to some sort of, you know, massage or something that really gave you your strength back, that you can get back out there and continue doing what you're doing. And for me, and this is why I am never done, Franziska, and I told you this before, I'm not done because you never get done belonging in a community. You know, we keep learning. We start the Clever Bunch again. We go to Genius meetings. We have the experiences, and all of these things. They're just first and foremost, you know, energy, source of tips, source of wisdom, source of information, source of networking, possible help, and all of that put together is just great energy.
That's really nice to hear. Thank you so much for sharing. And talking about energy and also wisdom, receiving wisdom from fellow entrepreneurs in our community. What is some wisdom or something that you'd like to share with our listeners, with our viewers? Is there something even that you wish you had known when you first started? So it's sort of two questions. What's the word of wisdom? And also, is there something that you wish you had known that you'd like to share?
Yeah, so in this whole, you know, in this whole trying to understand what I wanted to do, how it add value to the clients, there is, and the reason why I think it's difficult is because there's a lot of doubt, right? So there's doubt that comes from yourself, there's doubt that comes from looking at what somebody else is doing. And then I've always told myself, you know, because you work hard, whenever you work hard, if that's your value, then you are perseverant, right? And one thing that I discovered is that there is like one step before being perseverant is you have to be a little bit stubborn. You know, when you find something, perseverance is the strength that's going to help you push it and push it and push it to see how far it can go. And the stubbornness of you know, sticking to the fact that you believe that this is going to add value to someone. And I think I was talking about this because I was doing some mentorship. I am doing some mentorship here in Montreal with an organization that helps entrepreneurs. And I was talking to a girl, and she was in that stage where she thinks, I think my idea is not really worth, because the sales are not happening yet, you know. And then you think, this idea might not be really good. Why would I work hard? Why would I persevere? And then I was saying to her something, I think it was in the early 2000s, I had the opportunity to hear a woman from the UK who founded this company, the food shop, or the food, whatever the name of that company is a company that focus on selling products especially for feet, for, you know, pedicure or whatever it is. And she said something and it stuck with me, and I was far away from being an entrepreneur at that time, but she said, just find an idea and push it to see how far it can go. And I was saying that to her. I think before that, to fuel your perseverance and to fuel your hard work, be stubborn about your idea, about the service that you want to give, if you think that this really adds value, if you have seen the power of what you do and how it can improve somebody's life, whether it's a product or a service, then be stubborn, because that stubbornness, you're going to need it. You're going to need it to fuel your perseverance and your hard work.
This is gold. I love it, and I've taken some notes here that I will also put in the show notes. But this distinction between stubbornness and perseverance, and how stubbornness comes slightly before perseverance and fuels your perseverance. So stubbornness, according to Ana Lovera, which I agree with you, helps you believe in what you do and helps you push in adding value, and then the perseverance helps you to push it further, that little bit further that you need. That's maybe that needs to be part of your quotes somewhere. I hope you're collecting some quotes here, Ana Lovera quotes, because that's really good. That's really good wisdom, and it's your own thinking.
I'm gonna write it down somewhere also.
yeah, I think it's brilliant. I haven't heard anyone position it in that way. That it's brilliant. Stubbornness precedes perseverance just a little bit, and you need both. You need stubbornness to fuel your perseverance. It's gold. Thank you so much. I would love to close on that note, because it's a really lovely note to end on. We've started very beautifully. It's reminding ourselves and each other and our listeners to be present and to bring everything to this moment that we have, because we just have it only once. Every moment comes once. And so how do we show up? And then finishing up with stubbornness and perseverance. I love it. So Ana, thank you so much, as always, for bringing everything that you always bring to the community, now to the wider community too, to everyone that is going to see this. Really, really appreciate it. And if anybody would love to say hi to you, should they do that on LinkedIn, or where do you want to connect with people?
Yeah, I'm super active on LinkedIn now, more than other social media. So you can find me there, Ana Lovera, and then it's likely that it will show up there: supply chain consulting solutions, helping manufacturing companies, and so on. And or on my website, analovera.com, and I'm there also quite often.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks again. And thank you to all the listeners for tuning in. I hope you enjoy these behind the scenes interviews with our members that are doing amazing work in the world. So, just like Ana Lovera is doing. Thank you so much. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you.